This is bad news for Disney Star Wars if Timothy Zahn is showing that he doesn't have faith in what Disney's doing. Now, he actually was one of the few writers of the Extended Universe, which I'm a deep reader of the Extended Universe from back in the day, that got to continue forward with the new Disney model. They hired a bunch of new SJWs for the most part, writing terrible books. And Timothy Zahn was able to come in and write a Thrawn backstory, which I really enjoyed, actually. I liked those books quite a bit. I just viewed them as Timothy Zahn books and kind of ignored everything else that was going on with it. This is pretty interesting. So we're going to get into this in just a moment, and we'll talk about Timothy Zahn and his work. If you're not familiar with him, we're going to get you familiar with him, my friends. Please hit the like and subscribe button. We talk about all things science fiction and fantasy here, and love military science fiction especially. I'm a big fan from back in the day and been a writer of the fiction for a long time myself. I was recently banned from Kickstarter because of this YouTube channel. They don't like my commentary on mainstream comics and mainstream books. And so I launched a Space Marine graphic novel, military science fiction, on Fund My Comic yesterday. Now, this is pretty great right here. We got about as many backers as I had on my recent Kickstarter campaign, which was super successful before this. I rocked the mainstream industry. They got very, very shook by the fact that I'm making a living without their permission. And these stories are resonating. So I've set up my own Terran Imperium. It's a space empire that's at war. You'll really enjoy it. If you're a Star Wars fan, if you like the old Extended Universe stuff, I'm building this out like none other. This Space Marine book, my advanced readers, who are like my beta readers for you guys, are telling me this is the book they've been waiting for, that this is something that they've wanted out of comics, out of books, out of movies for a long, long time. And we've done some cool art styles. We're taking it back to the 70s, taking it back to like the Jack Kirby stuff era of DC Comics and more. You're going to love this. Check it out in the description below. And I love that like everybody came over. Thank you so much. This is the best community. You guys have made this a success despite Kickstarter, and that's awesome to be doing this on Fund My Comic, a new website that actually promotes free artistry and free speech. So we want to support them as well. It's in the description below. Thank you so much. Back this today and get this going. I'd love to get this up and just get this book out to as many people as possible. Like I said, you're really going to enjoy this, especially if you're an Extended Universe fan. Thank you so much again. Okay, so let's get into this. Timothy Zahn is a renowned American science fiction author, best known for his influential contributions to the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Yes, this is a great summary by WJW Pro, wonderful YouTube channel too, if you guys don't know him. His early career began writing in the 1980s, and short stories and novels showcase his talent for intricate plots, well-developed characters. His style and aptitude for weaving complex storylines gained him recognition in sci-fi community. And he's most famous for this book here, guys, Heir to the Empire. This is where he created Thrawn. This is a huge influence on me in my writing. I've read this book multiple times. It stands up, by the way. I read it a couple years ago, again, as an adult. This trilogy is fantastic. If they would have just copied this for 7, 8, and 9, even if they just like tweak things to make the actors older and maybe less focus on Luke Skywalker or whatnot, this would have been such a huge hit for Disney. This is all they had to do. Fans would have been thrilled, but they had to go their own way. They had to, make it for modern audiences and subvert expectations, right? I mean, this is unfortunately the way these modern writers write. They don't pay attention to the lore like this. Now, Heir to the Empire was a trilogy, and Timothy Zahn did a bunch of books after this as well, which are all excellent. I mean, like you can't go wrong picking up a Timothy Zahn book. His Cobra series is really good. If you guys have not checked that out, if you want to do something that's not Star Wars, he actually came out with a novella, which he self-published a few years back too, which absolutely loved it. I think that's still up on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. So I've read a lot of his work and really wonderful stuff. He went to a recent fan convention in Nashville, and they asked his opinion on modern Star Wars. Disney has not been in contact with him for the films for Ahsoka, which is pretty obvious. If you look at the way that they portrayed Zahn in Ahsoka, Thrawn in Ahsoka, he was kind of cucky. Like, he was not like the scary figure that you would have thought he was based on these books. And they made him into like a modernized version of Thrawn. It was okay. It just like wasn't quite right. And they should have consulted Zahn. Zahn is the one who knows the character more than anything. Not only did he do this, but like I said, in the modern times with Disney, he's come out with a Thrawn backstory, which is pretty fantastic too, and really details the character on a very deep level. And so it's really sad that Disney doesn't want to consult him. But the problem is they want to make everything their own. This is the trend with these Hollywood writers. I talked about this with Rings of Power this morning. And it's the same thing with Star Wars. They want to ignore the past of Star Wars. They want to ignore the past of everything else. And the problem they are facing is the past and the lore that's been established is just so much better. There's so much rich goodness there. It just sucks that they do this. So he expressed to our reporters while a consultation credit would be wonderful, his dream is for Lucasfilm to offer him a cameo role in one of the movies. Gosh, that should be pretty simple to give the guy. Why haven't they done that already? He should have already been in Ahsoka. When pressed on the character of Thrawn and how he's portrayed in the movies, Timothy Zahn was more concerned. And this is where it gets interesting to me because Zahn still has contracts writing for Disney Star Wars. If he's scared about the way things are happening, if he's voicing any concern, if he's not just towing the line and just saying, hey, things are great, I love it. If he even gives like a political answer, which is what he gets, you know that there's something drastically wrong. He says, I trust Filoni to get it right. He's read the books. He cares about the character. He gets it. I think we'll do it right. We'll see how they do with the next Ahsoka season. There's a good group over there at Lucasfilm. Pablo Hidalgo comes off at it from a game's point of view, but he knows the characters too. I hope the Disney higher-ups don't ruin it. So, and this is wild, because those are the people who are in charge of all the contracts right there. So, Dave Filoni, I mean, Rebels was an excellent cartoon. It really was back in the day. Ahsoka didn't quite hit the mark, to be honest. But if you look at it, the higher-ups are the ones who are causing all the problems. The Kathleen Kennedys of the world, the Sinead Obaid Chinoys of the world who are up there and shaking things up, pushing the diversity hires, are causing all these problems across Star Wars. The Acolyte bombed as a result beyond anything else that they've ever done before. They're blaming the fans, of course, attacking all the fans for caring about it. But the fact that, it's a very real possibility that even, the author out there has to go, I really hope those Disney folk don't ruin it, really shows how bad things really are at this company. Now, Project Veritas, or at least the new iteration of it, James O'Keefe, because, that's another story, did an expose on Disney earlier this year. If you didn't see that, that was so telling. They actually showed that white males were not allowed to be cast for certain roles, that to get promoted in companies, you had to not be a white male. They actually have quotas for this kind of thing. It's very, very illegal, very, very wrong, and I hope there's going to be some class action lawsuits against Disney. It's so crazy that even a black guy who was trying to get a higher-up position didn't get the position because one of the insiders at Disney said that he just didn't look black enough. His skin wasn't dark enough. That's how insane these people are. So when you're dealing with this and you're dealing with the Forces female crowd out there with Kathleen Kennedy, you know that it's really, really bad. And like I said, Timothy Zahn, he's in a spot where he has to be diplomatic about this stuff. This is a diplomatic answer right here. And he actually went and threw some shade at the Disney higher-ups, which is absolutely crazy. When we reminded Mr. Zahn there aren't many people above Dave Filoni anymore at Lucasfilm, he smiled and replied, and that's a good thing. Well, I named one of them right there. Crazy. It's surprising us that Disney has not more forthrightly reached out to Zahn for consultation. Agreed. He's covered in the past how popular the Zahn books are, easily surpassing any enthusiasm around modern novels. In 2022, he said earlier this week, we're tipped off by Barnes & Noble likely had a contractual obligation with Lucasfilm and Disney to provide prominent shelf space with graphic marquee to sell the High Republic goods. Yeah, this happens. I tell everybody that, Barnes & Noble, those spaces where the books are displayed prominently are paid for by publishers. They always are. Nothing's organic in the mainstream world. We were tipped off that this has been an utter failure for selling the books. Haha. And Barnes & Noble has taken a different strategy altogether. While the new books Disney wants to push are available, the shelf space has been available, They have been pushed down to the floor, and we're told this is purposeful. Apparently, there's no language in the contract that forbids Barnes & Noble from putting other Star Wars content on the shelving space. They're doing exactly that. Instead of pushing High Republic, which wasn't working, they're now focusing decades-old Star Wars novels, which are more popular. So they knew it. They were not able to sell books. The books were just sitting on the shelves because the High Republic stuff is crap, and this is the stuff that sells. Maybe Disney will wake up eventually and realize they have a gold mine and just scrap this entire thing that they've been doing with the Kathleen Kennedy. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon because SJWs always double down. Now, I hope they don't ruin things too, but it's already a little too late on that level with what I've seen from Ahsoka. Hopefully Season 2 makes it better, but I'm not going to hold my breath. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Do check out this great alternative, this wonderful thing right here, the Emerald Array. You are going to absolutely love it. It's on Fund My Comics. Support alternatives today. I appreciate you guys for being there. You can't stop the signal, Kickstarter. You can't stop the signal.